Yes.
Okay, I can see Pam, just so you know. And I can, if you tilt your computer down a little bit or move yourself to the left, your left.
Do you need to see me?
I don't need to see you, but after a minute, I'll turn this off, but it's helpful to see who's here.
Okay.
Jennifer, I'm seeing an elbow or something. Jennifer, can you hear me? And I've got Jill. I can see you, Jill. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. I will turn you all off after a while. Don't worry. Jenny. Jenny is here, and I'm not seeing or hearing her. Looks like she's trying to talk to me. She's on a phone connection. While the rest of you are here, take a scroll over your, down at the bottom of your screen and see if you can find the chat box. There's a box where you'll be able to chat to me while we speak. It looks like Pam has found it.
Yeah.
Type me a note, Pam, so I can see that it works. Jennifer just came into the screen and went away from the screen. You're on the phone. If you've got speakers on your computer, you shouldn't need the phone connection. I got a note from Jill that says, I found it. A note from Pam that says, hi, Chris. Jennifer and Jenny, if you can find the chat box, and Jill, Jill says found it, found the chat box. Excellent. So the chat box is a place where you can type me questions along the way at any time, and I will see them pop up, and I will answer them as soon as I can in the presentation. So I hope that makes sense. We're waiting for 5 more people to join us, and we've got 2 minutes to go. So Jenny says it's Alice, not Jenny, so you must be using a computer owned by somebody named Jenny, Alice. So that's Amy logged in. We'll get rid of all the background noise as soon as I unmute you all. Liz, I've got Liz on camera. Hi, Liz.
Hello.
I will turn the cameras off for all of you except me, and the audio off for all of you except me. I'll turn those off in a minute. It's distracting for all of us. Alice is saying it's got a bigger monitor than mine. You're using somebody else's computer, Alice, so that's great. Liz, if you haven't done this yet, find the chat box. Scroll over the bottom of your screen or the top of your screen, and a chat box should be there, or the word chat, and you click on it and a box will come up. And through that, you'll be able to ask me questions as the web's on. We've got, that was Amy logging in, and Raquel is on her way. Raquel is logging in. And Lindsay.
But they don't have the two-way dialogue.
Lindsay is here, and Liz is here. You are all on time, and we have a lot of J people. There's a lot of J people. If you can hear me out there, know that I will turn off your audio and your screen so that I won't. We'll turn all that off in a minute to eliminate distractions. But at this moment, roll over your bottom of your screen and see if you can find the chat box and drop me a note. Liz has dropped me a note that said yes. So, Steve is here. Steve, Marshall, if you could drop me a note in the chat box or say hi. Lindsay, say hi. Amy is here. I think we've got a total of 10 in the class, and 9 of you are here, I think. 1, 2, 3. Just one missing. Steve Marshall is actually Erica, so hello, Erica. Thank you. I got your chat note. Lindsay says hi from her chat box. Amy says hi. Excellent. Okay, everybody, we're going to try and get started. I'm going to turn off your audio and turn off the picture of you. And that's mainly to avoid distractions from your computer. You won't, I won't hear you if you knock your coffee cup around or something like that. And I'd love to see your faces, but that gets distracting to me after a while. So the chat box is the way to communicate with me throughout this hour or hour-long webinar. I realized I had advertised this as 1 hour long, and yesterday I had written you all a note saying, for an hour and a half tomorrow, we'll do da-da-da. So I'm willing to go for an hour and a half if I have that much material and if you still have questions. If you need to hang up at noon, I totally get that, and that's fine. And just a reminder that this is being recorded, both video and audio, and so you will receive a recording of this afterwards. So I'm going to turn all of your microphones off now and all of your cameras. And yeah, I think you should all be gone. You're all gone from my screen now. If I need to, I can start you up again on audio if anybody really needs to talk to me. Okay, so at this point, if you could find the chat box and drop me a note that says several things. How you found this webinar. I mean, where did you find it, literally? And why you have an interest in taking it. What is your business? And how long have you been at that business? If you just type me a note as you go along, I would be grateful for that. Pam says her video is still showing. She's right. Or you might be able to see yourself, but not. Yep, stopping your video, Pam. And Amy, stopping your video. Okay, should be that you're all gone now. All right. Let's get started with the real gist of things here, if we could. So today we're going to learn about Facebook advertising. And this is something I've been teaching for years. Since Facebook advertising was invented, I've been using it, and I just love Facebook advertising. It works well, and it's really inexpensive related to other forms of paid advertising you might do. Somebody else just joined us today, so welcome. Find the chat box by scrolling over the bottom of your screen and write me notes along the way. It's a place to add questions, etc. So thanks for, I see you're all responding to my question. Why are you taking this webinar? What your business is and what you hope to get out of this. Jill says, I met you at a training in Concord. Yes. Amy says, I heard about you through New Hampshire Made. Yay, I've loved New Hampshire Made. Lindsay found me on a SCORE workshop. Hooray. All right, so proceeding. So as I said, you'll get a recording of this webinar probably tomorrow morning. I want to talk to you about Facebook advertising, and starting with this concept that everything I say today will be outdated by the time we get done. And I mean that almost literally, but not quite. But just know that the Facebook advertising options are constantly changing. And the minute you think you've got a handle on it, they'll add another feature or they'll remove something and it'll make you crazy. But that's my job, is to keep up and to keep all of you informed on what the changes in Facebook advertising are. So know that if you're feeling overwhelmed by how fast it moves and what you've tried to do or not tried to do, know that it's not you, it's them. They just change a lot. So if you haven't done so already, type me a chat note that says how you found out about the webinar and how you found out about me and why you're interested in taking this. So as we proceed here, we're going to go through one specific type of Facebook ads, but I want to talk to you about the types of ads I'm going to assume that some of you may have already tried and not known that you were dealing with Facebook ads. So how many of you have done a boosted post on Facebook? Some of you have done that by virtue of Facebook guiding you how to do it, but you didn't realize it was a form of advertising. So type me a note that says, yes, Jenny has done a boosted post, Jill has, the person masquerading as Steve has, Raquel has, and Kimberly has. So a boosted post is sort of the feeder type of ad that most people start out with doing on Facebook because Facebook prompts you to do it. How about, have any of you boosted an event or promoted an event? In other words, paid money to get your event seen. Amy has done a boosted post and a boosted event. Most of you are saying yes to that. All right, that just helps me to know that you've been there already. So here in this screen below, or on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see what was for me a post that I ultimately boosted, okay? So the only difference being a boosted post is you've already done it as a regular post on Facebook, and then you paid for the opportunity to present it to more likers. Here on the screen now is a boosted event that I did, an event that I have coming up, and I chose to boost it, meaning I paid money using this boost button down at the right here, paid money to present it to a broader audience, okay? So what is the point of paying Facebook to do something that we can otherwise do for free? We can put up a post for free. We can put up an event for free, right? So why pay? And the answer is paying is going to get you beyond your already existing group of fans, or your likers as we call them now. So on this post, you'll see on the left-hand side of your screen, that was just a post that I boosted. When it was just a post, meaning I put it up there for free, it was up there for a couple of days, my fans saw it, but only 58 out of my potential 477 fans saw it. And there's what we're after. Only 58 out of my 477 saw it. And so I want to make sure that a broader audience than my 58 there out of 47 see it. And so to pay a little money to Facebook to get it to a broader audience is totally worth it for me under certain circumstances. Boosting something, paying for the opportunity, lets you specifically target who might see that post beyond your existing likers. And it's going to get you an audience that wouldn't otherwise have seen your post because they haven't liked your page. That's the real potential. That's the real reason to be doing it. And that's why I love these. It does, in fact, work, okay? So it's all about getting in front of the eyeballs that you already have earned from them liking your page. You're going to go way beyond that. So know that what I'm going to show you is the way to build a like ad. That's what we're going to do today. Is the same essential process as every other type of Facebook ad that is out. So Maria has joined us just now. And Maria, if you could find your chat box and drop a note to me in the chat box telling me who you are, what your business is, and what your interest is in Facebook advertising, I'd be grateful. Find the chat box by scrolling over the bottom of your screen or the top, and then Maria says she got it. And I'm going to turn your audio and voice off, okay? All right, cool. So the essential difference here between a boosted post or a boosted event is that you do those and then you boost them. What I'm going to show you today is how to start from scratch with an intentional ad, as it were. And the intention of that ad that we're going to build today together is to bring more likers to the page. That's the goal of the ad, okay? So right here, boosted post, I posted it, and then I press the button that says boost post, and it's going to walk me through a process. That is what you're going to see now. And that process is the same for all the others types of ads. Thank you, Pam. Pam says, I'm on your emailing list. And in business. All right. So, sorry, I had to turn off my phone there now that I know that you're all here. So here are all the ways Facebook is going to encourage you to do other types of ads other than those boosted posts or promoted events. When you visit your Facebook business page, you might notice this create ad option. That's several different places on your business page, to the right, sometimes to the left, always at the bottom. It sometimes pops up randomly. Facebook wants you to do paid advertising. If you're intending to do it on your own, you start at your Facebook business page. You've got this down arrow here, the down arrow. If you put that, it leads to this menu, and in that menu you get manage ads, right? So you've got just going to turn off one microphone of somebody else here. Stand by. Sorry, one moment, please. Okay, got it. So, sorry, I was showing you all the ways that Facebook reminds you to do an ad or how you would do it from scratch. There's the call down menu that's got the manage ads. And finally, this thing, sorry, I'm backing up a second. This one right here on the left says reach people nearby or get more page likes. Those are suddenly presented to you as an administrator of a Facebook ad, a Facebook page. They're presented to you right smack in the middle of your screen anytime you go there as an administrator. I don't know if you've noticed that. So this one called reach people nearby, if I clicked on that, that would lead me to a process of delivering an ad that is delivered to people, creating an ad that is delivered to people literally nearby my business. So if my business is in Peterborough, New Hampshire, if I clicked on reach people nearby, it's going to walk me through a process of building an ad that reaches only people near me geographically. And that's a great feature. But I want to go through this one to the right called get more page likes. Get more page likes. And then just a final note underneath those two options in the gray box, you'll also be seeing this lately. Get started with automated ads. And that button is Facebook is going to walk you through a step for creating an ad that talks about your page. And by automated, it means we're going to run this continuously on a schedule that you select. I've used that once when it was first invented and didn't get a lot of traction from it. But it was brand new and I need to go back and review that again, but it's something to think about for all of you. But I want to do, as I've said, an examination of the Facebook page likes ad. An ad whose goal is to get people to like your page, and that's a good goal. So Facebook walks you through the steps. If I had clicked that from the previous page, get more page likes, if I had clicked on that button, it opens this main menu containing three top types of ads or objectives of ads. Is your ad going to, do you want to solicit more awareness of your business, or do you want to get more consideration or more conversion? Conversion meaning more leads or sales. So Facebook always does that. It always starts with, what is your point? What is it you're trying to do with this ad? It's going to ask you that as the topmost question, okay? So awareness, consideration, and conversion. Let's move on. So today we're going to build a like ad, as I've said, 9 more types of ads that are virtually the same as what I'm going to show you now. But before we get into those weeds of how to do it, I want to just put the theory out there, Facebook theory and strategy. The main thing you want to approach Facebook advertising with, if you're going to give Facebook some money to do this for you, you want to approach this with 3 steps in mind. First off is a mindset of experimentation. You want to do an ad, do the best job you can with creating an ad, study the results you get from that ad, and then repeat. Take those results, figure out what worked, repeat the elements that made that ad work. And that's what Facebook advises everybody to do. And that's just not a Facebook idea. That's an overarching advertising idea. Out in the real world, any commercial you're seeing on television has been focus grouped to death. It has probably been A/B testing. That's the term that they use, A/B tested. They tried this graphic with this text, it didn't work. They tried this graphic with different text, it did work. And that's what I want to encourage you to think of when you get into the more detailed types of ads that we're talking about here. So experiment, study the results of your ad, and then repeat. And the beauty here of Facebook advertising is you don't have to spend $1 million to get those results and to conduct those types of experiments, okay? So think of Matt as you go in mind. Here's the first rule of advertising of any kind, and actually the first rule of doing business. You gotta know who you're trying to sell to. Who is your target audience? Any business advisor will tell you that. Any marketing plan requires that. Who are you trying to reach? Are you trying to reach the groovy young guy or the mom in the middle, the mom of a young child? Are you reaching the businesswoman or the retired seniors or the very savvy fashionista? Whatever it is, you have to have a picture of that person in mind in order to produce effective ads, even on Facebook. So know exactly who you're trying to reach. Here are the demographic indicators that Facebook will want you to drop in, and that become very, very important. How old is the person in your target audience? What is their marital status? It does matter. What is their gender? And P.S., you might say, I'm advertising to everybody. That makes a lot of sense for most businesses, but think about this. We know, this is not just gender stereotyping, we know that women make the majority of buying decisions in any household. So depending upon your product or service, you might think about targeting just the women, because women are the ones that are going to act on the ad. Now that's an overstatement. Certainly men are doing so too, but depending upon your product or service, think about whether just women is a more targeted spot for you. And finally, if depending upon your product or service, knowing where people are, your targeted audience, where do they live? Where do they live and how far from where do they live do they have to come to do business with you? If you're an actual retail location, this makes it becomes all important. If you're not a brick and mortar store, it becomes less important. So keep that in mind. And then know that all of the ways to build a Facebook ad enable you to indicate very specific interests of people that you want to target or specific connections they might have to other businesses. That gets a little more detailed than what we have time for here, but know that the Facebook ad building system will ask you those questions, and if it's appropriate, you should be using those. So Liz is asking me a question here. Are the criteria that you select cumulative, i.e. women who like hiking and yoga? Women who like hiking and yoga, Liz is asking about. So my answer to that is yes, cumulative, if that's the way you choose to go. In other words, if you choose women and then you'd like to have the women who are into hiking and yoga, excuse me, that's not cumulative. That would be restrictive, I think would be the term for it. Only women who only like hiking and yoga or have indicated such in their Facebook profile. Or Liz goes on to say, or does it end up targeting all women who like hiking and all women who like yoga? It's all women who have both of those indicated in their interests. So Liz is getting into the weeds, which is fine. You can target people by their likes and interests. That's where Liz was going with that. But know that in our little state of New Hampshire, it might be less effective to be that specific on targeting. And as I go on here, that might become a little more clear to you. But think about your own behavior on Facebook. When you filled out a Facebook profile, did you indicate you were interested in X, Y, and Z? Interested in knitting and dog grooming? Did you indicate you were interested in yoga? Did you tell people that you have a hobby of surfing? I mean, it all depends on, Facebook is going to pick up the data from how people built their profiles, their personal profiles. And so some of us did not do that kind of specific thing in our profiles. We didn't want to, we didn't know we should have. Whatever the reason, that data is not there. So that's why that those key interest indicators may not be the best way to go. But let's go forward on that a little bit. Facebook is also picking up your online search behavior to know how to deliver ads to you. So think about how people might search for what your product or service is. So this is just a note about Facebook advertising. You and I, as users of Facebook, might get annoyed by the ads that we see. They scroll down in the middle of our news feed, or they scroll down to the right. On the right side of our screen. And know that people get annoyed by these ads. However, they don't get annoyed when they're exactly what that person was looking for. So on the right here, I have 2 ads that were delivered to me. One is from a place that sells fancy dresses, and the bottom one is from a place that sold furniture. So I was delivered these 2 ads on the side of Facebook because I had recently done searches for wedding dresses, meaning I was attending a wedding and needed a fancy dress. And I did a search for not just any furniture, but blue love seats. And to the right, suddenly I'm being delivered ads within Facebook. Now my searches were outside of Facebook, okay, on Google, wedding dresses and furniture. And suddenly within Facebook, I'm seeing ads that are directly related to my searches. That's totally scary, weird stuff, but it's totally wonderful when it works, when it's what I've been looking for. So drop in there whatever you think. You know, if you've been doing a search for wood pellet stoves, suddenly those ads are going to be related to wood pellet stoves. That's going to be helpful to you as a consumer. And from the business point of view, that's why these Facebook ads are so awesome. They can be that effective to be exactly what people are looking for at the exact moment of time they're looking for it. Don't forget to drop me continuous questions in the Facebook chat box, or in the Zoom chat box here, sorry. Scroll over to find the chat box and ask me questions as we go along. And then we'll have time at the end for questions as well. So here's what I want to say about when you should be thinking about doing a Facebook ad. We're going to get back to the building of a Facebook-like ad in a minute. But when you should be considering some Facebook advertising, you should do it when you're brand new to Facebook. I don't know if that applies to any of you here. You should do it when you're brand new to business. Absolutely. Set up a business page. And one of the best first things you can do is to do some Facebook ads through that Facebook business page to get some traction early on. When you have a new product or service, so let's say you've been in business a while, but suddenly you're now doing X in addition to Y and Z. You want to do ads that tell people about your new product or service. That's an excellent way to think about when to do Facebook advertising. Also, you want to do it when you're holding an event. All those things we talked about at the beginning, boosting a post, those are my favorite types of paid ads to do, a boosted event, because they can be so highly effective at getting the word out about an event, a live event or an online event like this one. Another great way to reason to think about doing a Facebook ad, you want to increase your visibility to a highly targeted audience. So let's say you have in fact been selling a product or service that absolutely engages, is targeted towards women and women only. Let's say it's, to be sexist about it, it's makeup. And suddenly you're going to, in your makeup shop, you're going to advertise haircuts for men. I mean, I'm being a little ridiculous here, but haircuts for men. So now this shop that has become known for its makeup line is now doing something that appeals to men. Right at this moment, you want to run a Facebook ad that says, hey, now we're doing this other different thing, and target that ad to that new target audience, or whoever it is that's going to be the decision maker about that new service. So Maria is asking, I often wonder how effective this type of advertising is. The ads pop up after I've already searched and made my purchase and continue to pop up. she's referring to the blue couch and the wedding dress, right? Is there an algorithm about the length of time an ad will appear, like a certain number of days or weeks? So in Maria, in your example, the ads are going to pop up depending upon what that advertiser has programmed its ads to do. And you raise a valid question. Why is this effective if I've already done the search and completed my purchase? But the internet overall is not smart enough to know that you're not still looking for the product. And that's why those ads do pop up in Facebook, that it does not know that you've purchased the product. But turning that around, think of how effective that is. If I haven't yet bought my blue couch and I'm still getting ads and seeing those ads, it's likely that those ads will be effective in terms of at least getting me to click through and see what that ad is all about. So now to answer your final question, she says, is there an algorithm about the length of time an ad will appear? You, the creator of the ad, you, the business owner, absolutely can direct how often, how long that ad is going to run. There's a space in the creation pane that says, how long do you want this ad to run? Now, that ad is not going to, your scheduling of that ad is not going to necessarily correspond one-to-one with how long is that particular person, how long is Chris still looking for her blue love seat. It's not that specific. But if you think about your length of time of running the ads, you can still be successful sort of accidentally in that regard. So continuing here, hope that answers your question, but drop in again and tell me if it doesn't. You want to consider doing a paid Facebook ad when you really, really have something you must advertise and cannot or do not want to spend a lot of money on other forms of advertising. So, or you've just failed to do so. Good, I've answered your question, Maria. So I had a client who failed to, it was a nonprofit theater group, and somebody had screwed up royally and not promoted an event that was happening this coming weekend, a theatrical production. They hadn't sent out a press release. They hadn't put any ads in newspapers. They hadn't done any advertising at all online. And so they came to me 4 days ahead of the event and said, do you think a Facebook ad would help us with that? And I absolutely said, yes, I do think so. And they didn't have any money. They were a nonprofit theatrical group. I said, if you can give me $25, I will see what I can do with an ad. And I cannot do this one for one, but we know that the seats in that theatrical production that was just 4 days away were ultimately filled when I knew who to target that ad to. I had $25 to play with. I spread it out evenly over 5 days or 4 days leading up to that event. Spread it out. I knew that geographically, how far away would people come to this amateur production? I knew I could make some educated guesses there. And I know that that ad worked. I know that it brought people in the door. And so anytime you need to really, really need to advertise something so that it gets the word out, a Facebook paid ad is the way to go. It might be one of many types of marketing efforts you should make, but it's one that you absolutely should make, particularly when you're in particularly when you know who you're trying to reach, you know the geography, and you've got a limited amount of time and money. They are great options. Now, a pause for a question. Lindsay is asking, should the words you use in your ad contain words specific to your product or service, or should you be trying to use specific words that people are typing into Google? That's a great question, Lindsay, and there's two different questions there. Should you be using the specific words that people are typing into Google? The answer is yes. So if you can think in terms of that we all did with web design, search terms. You might have a product that you know what it is, but people use a different word to search for it. You should consider building an ad that contains text that is that other word, the words that you don't use but others do use. And you should use, and also you should use the ones that, words that are specific to your product or service, because that's just gonna, if it doesn't help you with this particular ad, it's gonna help you in future to start building the branding. Where do we find search terms, Lindsay? Well, so that's a giant question. But if you've ever done Google searches for your own product or service, that's going to give you a clue. If you've got a web presence at all, do a Google search for your product or service and see what comes up. That'll give you a clue whether you're using the right words that people do. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting who has masqueraded as Steve Marshall, but Steve is asking, along with Lindsay's question, what about using hashtag words in a Facebook post or an ad? Oh, Erica, sorry, Erica, thank you. So no, throw the whole concept of hashtags out the window when you're talking about a Facebook ad or post. Hashtags on Facebook specifically are, nobody cares. That's the best answer I can give you. Nobody cares about hashtags. And particularly, I wouldn't put them in an ad because its purpose in an ad a hashtag's purpose is better used outside of advertising. In an ad, it wouldn't help you at all and might just muck up things. And Erica says, thank you. I hate hashtags anyway, and I'm with you. Erica is particularly on Facebook. No word for hashtags. No word for hashtags. Some more reason to consider Facebook advertising. They are cheap, and we're going to get into how cheap. They can reach a hyper-local audience, and that gets back to what I was saying before about retail businesses or anybody who knows exactly who their audience is, where they are. Hyper-local. So hyper-local doesn't get more hyper-local than my little tiny church in Rindge, New Hampshire. We have a craft sale every year in November, and we know that people come to that craft sale are older women from about 10 miles away, a 10-mile radius from our church. And I know that the little bit of money we spend on advertising that event brings people, the right target audience, into our little tiny church event. That's what I mean by hyper-local. All right. Finally, the reason to consider doing them is you'll know instantly if they are working, you will know if they are effective, and you will not have spent $1,000 million to figure that out. Pam is asking that she runs a business that specializes in email marketing, et cetera, would like to be able to effectively boost events and build followers and understand Facebook advertising. No need to read this online, and I just did. Sorry. Pam is here to learn more and to learn more about effectively boosting events and building followers. So I hope that this entire production will help you do that. Finally, these Facebook ads they can be created on the fly. Facebook walks you through each step. Really simple. Their management of them is no longer simple, but creating the ads itself are really simple. You can go from an idea to being ready to launch in about 7 minutes if you have all your assets, your text and graphics. We're going to look at that in a minute. Furthermore, they can be changed mid-campaign on the fly. And so let's say you were advertising an event yesterday in New Hampshire, and the event was going to be this coming weekend, and you saw that the snowstorm number 587 was coming and that this was going to put you in danger. You could turn that ad off or change the ad to say, just heads up, alert, this event might be postponed or canceled because of the snow that's coming this weekend. So know that it's really easy to pause an ad mid-campaign or to change it mid-campaign. And there are perfectly valid business reasons to do that along the way. So I want you to consider why that. Here's just this slide and the next are just to show you the difference in what an ad looks like on one's desktop computer versus one's mobile device, and in an Instagram account. So Facebook owns Instagram, right? Many of you may not have your business on Instagram, but if it applies to any of you, know that the creation of an ad within Facebook, if you have an Instagram account, Facebook makes it extremely easy to press a button and it'll format that ad to show properly on your Instagram account as well. That's absolutely optional whether you do that or not. Even if you do have an Instagram account and just don't want advertised there, it's easy not to do that, but know that it's easy to do. So here, showing on the screen here is the first example of the ad I want to show you. This was designed, the intent is to get people to sign up for an online class, and that's what it looked like on a person's desktop computer when it was done. Now, on the left-hand side, it's what the same ad would have looked like on a person's phone, on the feed on Facebook going through one's phone. And know that, as I indicate down below here, 80% of Facebook viewing happens on a phone. So having an ad that formats correctly on a phone is important. And then on the right, it shows you the difference between what it would look like on a mobile device on Facebook and what it would look like on an Instagram feed on the right-hand side. And so in this particular case for my client, I built an ad and told it to go not just to Facebook, but also to their Instagram feed. Type me some notes if I lost you in there, if you have any questions about that. But just know that all of that design, all of that layout work, as it were, is being done for you. You don't have to make a lot of decisions. Facebook does it for you along the way when you're building the ad. And then finally, if you do have, again, a brick and mortar location, a physical location that you're advertising, a restaurant, a store, an event, if you're doing these ads and you give it a street address in the ad, know that on a mobile device, it can populate, it can pop up a map right there for the people to use to get to your store, location, or event. And that's an awesome feature, particularly because the Facebook ads are going to know whether a person looking at it is geographically nearby at that given moment, and can suggest other places to you. But furthermore, it pops up the map, and the map can be used in conjunction with GPS or Google Maps or whatever that viewer might be using at the time. It's an awesome feature, I think. All right, phew. The ad building thing is totally automated. Nothing you need to do except drop in your address and it will be functional. So if you're going down the Facebook paid advertising road for the first time, know that it's going to ask you for a credit card so that it knows who to charge for those ads that you've paid, that you've programmed. And to do that, it's going to have to know that you have a personal Facebook presence. In other words, you're probably advertising your business page and things related to your business, but at the point at which it's asking you who's paying for these ads, it's going to ask you to tell Facebook what personal profile, personal presence on Facebook are you operating under. So that kind of freaks people out sometimes, but no, they just do that because there has to be a person behind that credit card that they will ultimately ultimately be charging. And furthermore, they have that in there as sort of a fail-safe, but know that I've been doing Facebook paid advertising since it was invented, and I've never had any problem with them misappropriating my credit card or not reporting things accurately or misusing my credit card account. It's just, I registered my card with them. It's all secure online purchasing and never a problem. And the data is always there for me to see. We'll look at that at the very end. All right, so just one final point before we circle back to our concept of creating an ad that is a Facebook-like ad. Come like my page, okay? So know that most of the 9 types of Facebook ads that you can build, other than the boosted posts and promoted events, know that those ads can lead people anywhere on the internet. It doesn't have to be you're leading people to something within Facebook or to your Facebook page. You can be leading them to your website from that ad. You can be leading them to a specific page deep within your website. You can be leading them to a website that isn't related to you if there's some reason for that. If you are creating an ad promoting something that somebody else is doing, another business or nonprofit, you can build an ad that leads people any place that has a web address can be built into the Facebook ad. And I just love that feature and use it a lot. Yeah, Pam is asking if you're posting an ad for a client, sounds like you need to use your own personal credit card, she asks. And that's basically what I'm getting at. You have to have access to a credit card. And then once you use that credit card, that's the credit card you're going to use for every ad you ever build. And that's what I do with folks. Yes. Okay, so we are about to build an ad promoting our business page. So if you have a business page, you know that your job, I hope you know, that your job is to continuously add fans to it, increase the number of likers to it. One. That's your job. because the more likers you have, the more stuff they'll see from you. The more stuff they see from you, the more likely they are to come and do business with you. That's the whole point. So regardless of where you're at in your business development and your Facebook activity, you should be running an ad that promotes the fact of your page existing and inviting people to come like it. It's called page promotion. So you should do this when you're brand new to Facebook as a business, absolutely. You should do this when you would really like to ratchet up the number of likers, and that should be all the time. But when your page count is low, you should run a campaign whose job it is to get people to like your page. And what I mean by that is, let's say you've got a in-person, live, for real, big fundraising event coming in September. Here in February, it wouldn't hurt you to make sure that as September approaches, you've got the most number of likers you can get to that page in that amount of time. And running an ad to do that would be one way to help increase those numbers. So right now I have 477 likers on my page. Let's say I just want to set myself a goal of, I want to get to 500. Running a Facebook ad, getting people to like my page wouldn't be a bad strategy to get more people there. So, and then finally, if you've established business, established your Facebook presence, you're good at doing this, you've been doing it a while, you just want to think about running a Facebook like ad at regular intervals. And what I usually tell my clients is about every quarter or so, spend $10 and see how many new likers you can get just by running the type of ad we're about to create here. One moment, somebody's raising a question. What about inviting people to like your page? That's from Erica. Yeah, that's a free way to do it. And that's built in to Facebook right over on the right-hand side. There's always that that line that says, invite your friends to like your page, ? And that I teach that in a whole different class, but that's a free way to do it, absolutely. And what I'm talking about here, inviting people to like your page, you're inviting an unknown quantity of people to like your page, not your friends, but an unknown quantity of people within your target audience to come like your page. And we're going to look at that in a minute. Okay. Lindsay asks, if your business offers a variety of services that you would like to advertise, how much time should you leave between ads? Oh, good question. Leaving, advertising a variety of services, and let's say you're going to do one ad for each service. How much time should you leave between ads? Boy, that's a kind of a art and science sort of thing. But I would say that run the first ad and then give yourself for 3 or 4 days. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And then give yourself enough time to analyze its results. Did you get the right people? Are those the same people you want to get with the second product or service, and such? But I would say leaving 3 or 4 days between ads is a good benchmark. I'm actually just doing that for a client now. He's advertising for the first time. We're going to run it for 3 days, turn it off, run it for 4 days, turn it off, 3, 4, 3, 4. And that gets back to that experimentation attitude that I talked about before. So let's move on here. And then, Rachel has raised a question, I think. Rachel, you type it in a chat box, I will see it, I think. All right. So here again is if I were to say, I'm going to promote my page and told Facebook that's what I was doing, the very next screen that would come up would be this one. What are you trying to do? Raise awareness, consideration, or conversion? Converting people, getting traffic someplace. And know that the page-like advertising option is one that comes under consideration. Option 2 there. Page-like ads are described as a consideration ad by Facebook. And within that consideration, engagement is the goal you're trying to get. So Facebook is saying to you, what's your point in doing this ad? Is it awareness, consideration, conversion? The answer is consideration. And then what you want is engagement. And the type of engagement you're looking for here is to like the page. How did you get to that page? The page that I'm looking at now? Is that what you're asking? Fast Jenny, yes, the page, that is the page you are seeing here from the white part on down is the first screen that comes up when you begin the process of building an ad from scratch, as opposed to doing what I first said, boosting a post or boosting an event. When you are building an ad from scratch, create ad, then it's this page. And then your next decision is consideration is the type of, you're going to tell Facebook, consideration is the type of ad I'm creating, and engagement is what I want, and then you move to the next page. It shows you, oh, among the engagement types are post engagement, page likes, event responses, or offer claims. You see that at the bottom, and the one I've got circled in red, page likes is what we're up to now. But let's just look at what does Facebook think of as engagement. Engagement is comments, shares, likes, event responses, or offer claims. And offer claims is a very advanced Facebook type that a type of Facebook ad that you can do, which is essentially an offer, a coupon or a percentage off something. And then Facebook lets you build an ad that's going to track those people who claim your offer. They take your % off, or they take your coupon and use it online. So of the types of engagement, there are, the one we're seeking right at this moment is page likes in the building of this page like ads. That's what we're doing now. We're building the ad. Then in the screen that follows, you're going to see Facebook, you're going to see some numbers grow and expand or grow and diminish. And it's all based on a $25 per day budget. Know that Facebook pre-formats your ad for $25 a day, and they don't very well show you that you can have that figure be anything you want it to be, and it can be $1 a day. So do not panic when you see $25. You will just figure out how to change it to $1, okay? It's sort of like when those fundraisers call you on the phone and they say, don't you want to give your $50 today? And you're going, well, no, I was going to give you 10. It's exactly what Facebook is doing. It's suggesting a price to you that's probably way more than you want or should have to spend, okay? So that's just a default for all the following examples. The very next screen that comes up after that one is pre-formatted for helping you build your target audience. And here's where it gets extremely important to know your target audience. Facebook is going to walk you through the steps for doing this now, okay? They are going to say, your audience for this is the entire United States. It's filled in the form for you. And your audience for this is everyone age 18, legal age, and up, over 65. So from 18 up to infinity in terms of age, and all genders. Facebook has pre-formatted that for you, and here's where you want to start messing around and putting in your own targets in here. You don't want those targets because over here, look at on the right-hand side, it's got a needle here that says your audience selection is fairly broad, which is, you should translate in your own head as too broad. It is too broad. Facebook is saying this ad will not be effective because it's too broad to reach the exact people you're trying to reach. So the exact people you're trying to reach, you need to decide, where are they? How old are they? Are they men, women, or do you want to target both? Okay. Let's look at what the big numbers here mean. Because this ad was pre-formatted to target all of the United States and all ages and all genders, it says your potential reach for this ad is 195 million people. That would be the users of Facebook within the United States. 195 million people. And if you targeted an ad that way, it would be extremely ineffective because you're essentially sending it out. It's a bottle in the ocean. Too broad for your market. And that's true if you're selling Coca-Cola or if you're selling sandwiches from your sandwich shop around the corner. So you want, Facebook wants the needle here to be smack in the middle. And to get there, you need to make these targets over on the left-hand side much more specific, and we're going to do that on the next page. So let's just show one more thing. 195 million people could have been reached with this ad, except for my targeting of $25 per day. I was only going to reach 1,600 to 5,200 of those 195 million. So potential reach is who's in that universe, and estimated reach is based on how much you're spending. And that's where Facebook is making the decision, I'm going to deliver this ad X number of times based on what you're paying me, Facebook, what you're paying Facebook, okay? So let's look at the next page where we get more specific. All right? Watch the needle change on the next page. So instead of the entire United States, what I've targeted for my ad that I want to build my Come Like My Page ad, I've targeted my little town, Peterborough, New Hampshire, and within 25 miles of that little town. I could have gone up to 50 or down to 10. Those are the limits of each particular town or city. Doing that, I've eliminated a whole bunch of people. And now because for my business, I know that I'm targeting people that are older than 35, because I teach social media marketing. Generally speaking, the youngsters don't need me. They know it already. But I also know that that's who comes to my workshops. So I've targeted Peterborough and people who are older than 35, and I've targeted women, not both genders and not just men. And I do that because I know that's who comes to my workshops, and that is generally who have been my clients. So I've taken the entire universe of Facebook and limited it to Peterborough, New Hampshire, and 25 miles thereof. I've limited it to people who are older than 35, and I've limited it to women. And now look what happens on the right-hand side. The audience has been defined. The needle is in the middle, and that's what Facebook says is effective, and that's what we know is effective. And it says your audience is defined, meaning good job, you did the right thing. Now let's look at those same numbers at the bottom. Remember in the previous slide, it was 195 million. Now we're down to a potential of 100,000 people could see this ad. There is 100,000 people within the catchment area of Peterborough, New Hampshire, and 25-mile radius thereof. And because it's still formatted to $25, the estimated reach from within that $100,000 for my money was between 1,500 and 3,900 people would see the ad, okay? So here's where, as a business owner, you make a decision. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for me to spend $25 to reach between 1,500 and 3,900 people for this purpose, for whatever it is I'm advertising? So in this case, it would be my workshop, but for you, it would be a product or a service. You make a decision, is that a good number, or should I try for more, or should I try spending less and still get enough people seeing it? Let me know if you've got questions. Drop into the chat box as we proceed here. I think there are a couple of people have hung up. If you need to hang up, know that you'll get a recording of this afterwards. We are 6 minutes away from 1 o'clock. I had advertised this as a 1 hour. I'd advertised it online, and then yesterday in a note I said it was an hour and a half, and I'm willing to go for an hour and a half if you can stick with me. And I don't have to if you're all needing to hang up. So Liz is asking, how do I create an ad for a group as opposed to a page? So you're meaning a Facebook group, a group on Facebook. That's a whole separate thing, and I'll have to send you some instructions offline, Liz, rather than take up the whole group's time here. But know that within the group feature is once you get into your group as an administrator, inside there you'll find similar buttons to what I showed you at the beginning. It will say promote the group or advertise the group, and it'll walk you through. From that point on, it'll be just like we've been looking at. It's going to ask you who to deliver it to, how much you want to spend, where are they. Erica, I think it is, saying, is there an ideal estimated daily reach? And again, not really. It's totally dependent upon your goals as an advertiser, your goals as a business. So let's stick on what you're seeing on my screen here. For $25, I can reach between 1,500 people and 3,900 people. So in the sample, Amy, the sample that's showing here is $25 daily. Or will it be over 2 days no, it's what we're seeing here is $25 daily. I could structure it such to split it over 2 days, and 3 days and 4 days. You can tell the ad how much you want to spend per the lifetime of the ad, and then tell it how many days to run, or per the day and tell it how many days to run. There's 2 different ways to do it. So back to the question of ideal estimated daily reach, it totally depends on you. So my daily reach showing here is between 1,500 and 3,900, and I'm advertising something. Let's say it's one of my workshops. For one of my in-person workshops, you would pay $35 to come. So would it be worth it for me to spend $25 to gain a potential audience of 1,500 at the low range? Yeah, that would totally be worth it for me. But for you, that equation might be different, and you might feel differently about it. That is one thing that business owners should think about constantly. What is it worth to you to get a customer? What is it worth for you to sell 1 widget as opposed to 10 widget, or sell 1 to 10 people or 10 to 1 people? All those equations are for marketing decisions along the way for the life of your business. But so to answer the question, what is an ideal daily reach? No, I can't give you that answer. You'll have to decide for yourself, but at least Facebook is giving you the universe from which you're drawing, 100,000 people in this case, and from what you're spending, you're going to get 1,500 to 3,900. I hope that answers the question. Let me know if it not. The range is there because Facebook cannot predict human behavior yet. It predicts how many people your ad will reach within a given amount of time. But know that there will be times when your target audience won't be online, and they're sort of calculated in here, sort of not. And also factored in would be what other advertisers are trying to reach your same target audience at the very same time. So that's the factors that go into why there's a range. Somebody's asking, how many days do you recommend running an ad for? And then another question, when advertising an online webinar, what do you think is ideal for location reach? Well, Lindsay, that is one of my perennial questions, and just know that I know it's not the entire United States. Even though you're advertising something that's online, meaning anybody could access this around the world, you still have to limit it. And I would just go by who's your target audience, where are you physically located, or where are people most likely to know you and know your name already? It's a question that comes up all the time with online products that can be sold anywhere. So back to how many days do you recommend running an ad for? Again, there's this thing called advertising blindness. So if you create the perfect ad and decide you're going to run it forever, and you've got a target audience, let's say it's mine showing here, Peterborough, older than 35 and women, know that that ad will continuously be delivered to the people in the 100,000 potential group, except some of those people will see the ad 5 times, and some will see it 2, and some will see it 10. And so after a while, there's what the advertisers call ad blindness. We won't see that ad that we've already seen 5 times, and therefore we will be dismissing it or not acting on it. So I always advise my clients to run an ad for 3 or 4 days and then let it rest. And then pick it up again in another week and then let it rest, depending upon what you're advertising. Give it a break. I don't ever say someone should run the same thing forever because I think that there's a law of diminishing returns applied there. And that's what the data shows, that advertising data will show that, you know, once you've seen that Ford truck commercial on the television 16 times, 17 times you're turning it on, the 18 times you're tuning it out, or whatever. The same theory applies. So I'm going to continue here, but please do respond with some more questions if you need to. Okay, so we have created an ad here that is well-defined by virtue of Facebook telling me it is and by virtue of knowing who my target audience is, okay? So there are lots more detailed things we can do with budgets, but I mean with targets, but let's just talk about budgeting for a minute. Let me answer a couple questions here. Specific number of characters that someone can post and the ad still get boosted. Characters meaning characters in your text. You will be limited. I'm not sure what you're limited to, but a boosted post, being a different type of ad that I'm talking about now, a boosted post can be longer than a pre-formatted ad. Pre-formatted ads have a character limitation, and I think it's somewhere around 280 characters. It'll tell you that it's too long. Yeah. Do you measure the success of your ad by the number of engagements to the ad, likes to your page, or anything else? You use all of those measures, and Facebook delivers all of those measures to you in great detail. The success of your ad, the ad we're building now is a like my page ad. So you will know it's successful if you get more likers to your page. That's the primary measure for this particular one. But you might have just wanted to increase your branding, increase your name recognition. And there's value to you in having people see the ad but not click on it, or having people see it and not engage with it in terms of comments, likes, or shares. Those things all have value, and just know that Facebook is going to deliver to you very detailed data on every type of ad you can create at any time, and you can make your decisions going forward from that data, and should. Okay, so just know it's we're still building this like my page ad, and we are up against 1 o'clock. If you have to hang up, no worries, and you'll get a recording. So here, the budget is a minimum of, it's already built in to be $25, but know that this is where you would change it to say the daily budget is $1, or the lifetime budget is $25. Lifetime meaning the lifetime of your ad. I usually pick daily budget just because it helps my non-mathematical brain keep track of things, and then tell it down below. You'll see that's the next thing. When do you want it to run? So I tell it to run from December 6th to December 13th at this rate, $25 a day. I would never do that. That's too much for me. But know that all of these elements are customizable by you, down to as much as $1 and up to as much as you want to spend. And I would never recommend you spend $25 a day even, because that sounds like a lot. But know that when you're starting out at this, you want to start low, not just because to help your budget, but just to see what works, and then go forward from there to determine, do I have some more money to add to it? Or was that first campaign successful? Should I continue and do it again? I hope that makes some sense. So know that just what you're seeing on this screen, it's all predicated on $25 daily budget running for this particular week. And it's calculated, oh, you mean 7 days? Well, if it's 7 days at $25, you're going to spend $175 on that ad campaign. So speaking of campaigns, here's how you do want to approach your advertising in the future. Once you've gotten your feet wet with some boosted posts and promoted events, and maybe you're going to do this like campaign that I've been talking about, the next thing you want to think about is the next time you're in a budgeting mode for your business is decide how much can I set aside for Facebook advertising. You're probably paying something for advertising now, right? In print, in a newspaper, or a newsletter, or e-blasts, or something like that. Think about designating some part of your marketing budget towards Facebook advertising. If you've experimented a little bit with a little bit of money, then as soon as you can, start thinking about an overall budget for yourself, okay? So know that building every other type of ad that Facebook offers to you is the same process I've just gone through. It asks you, what's your point? What are you trying to do with the ad? Who are you trying to reach? When do you want to reach them? And how much do you want to spend? And where are those people? Those are the key elements, and any type of ad you're going to build is going to ask you and walk you through the same process we've just looked at. A little bit of design. Know that the design is done for you. I mean, it's pre-formatted, and Facebook walks you through the steps Boosted posts, boosted events, that's all done for you because they're happening after the fact. After you've already made a post, you're boosting it. After you've posted an event, you're boosting it, you're paying money. And this like the page campaign is pre-formatted design-wise for you. There's not much you can do to change its look. And furthermore, it's going to work no matter what venue people are looking at it in. Skipping ahead here a second. Here is the place where it designs for you. It asks you, what is the ad creative? That means what is the text, what is the graphic or the photograph you wish to include in this ad? Is it a video? Is it more than one photograph? Is it one photograph? Know that you can put up to 10 still images in an ad and Facebook will turn it into a video for you. You can upload your own video in an ad and probably should think about that down the line. So know that formatting is pretty straightforward. It just asks you what graphic are you going to do and then what text. In this case, here's the text that I built in. This text could be anything. For this like my page ad, it could be, please come like our page, click on the thumbs up below. And that's what they mean by that. Your goal, get people to like the page. Your text probably should say, I hope you'll come like our page for more tips and tricks or something like that. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Some best practices for what types of images, and let me just see if I can answer a question from Maria here. Would you clarify, she's questioning a boosted post and an ad. A boosted post is shown only to your friends on Facebook. No. An ad is shown to your target demographics and may include your friends, but it's more targeted to your demographic. No. So a boosted post is shown only to your friends on Facebook if that's what you've told it to do, but know that you can boost a post and should boost a post to people beyond your friends. That is the point of boosting. Boosting meaning to pay for. Your friends are going to see it anyway. If they've already liked your page, they're going to see the post. You're going to take that post, boosting it, which means give a little bit of money to Facebook in order to get it to a broader audience that you've just defined using all those delineators I've just talked about. An ad is shown to your target demographics. Yes, that's the point. It may include your friends. Yes, but there's a way for you can say, don't even show this to people who've already liked my page, if that's what you mean. But show it to a targeted demographic. Yep. Pam is saying, likes versus follow, isn't it preferred to get followers? Yes, and from Facebook's lingo, likes and followers are the same. Followers are something I do. I choose to become your follower. You can't make me a follower. Being your follower just means I'm a liker, but I want your stuff to come into my newsfeed at a higher priority. I want to see your stuff first. That's what a follower is, and there is no way to advertise to get followers. You can only advertise to get likers, and then the likers have to choose to become followers. And look at what this stuff has done to the English language. I hope you followed all that, Pam. Thank you. Maria says she was a little confused about the boost. So boosting is after the fact, and you want to boost it beyond your friends. A little word about images. An image that you would use in an ad, you're going to keep in mind that that ad is going to be shown most likely in a tiny form like this on somebody's cell phone. So you want it to be extremely clear, photo or graphic, at that very small size. And know that human behavior is we respond to human faces more than any other type of image. We respond to human faces. So if you can build that into your ad, do so. So here's 2 ads for the same place. It was an assisted living place. Over to the left, we're showing the assisted living resident interacting with a pony that somebody has brought along. That's probably a caretaker. And over on the right is just the assisted living resident. We are going to love seeing this beautiful face on the right. The one on the left is okay, but we don't know where we're looking. We don't have a face to look at. So just know that faces are best. Here's the end result. If you were to build a like ad, meaning its purpose is to get people to come like your page, It's going to look something like this: a little bit of text, a graphic or image, and this key factor here, this thumbs up down at the bottom, the thumbs up sign. All right, I think I'm going to call an end to this pretty soon. Make sure I've answered your questions. Time-wise, oh, we've got a few minutes if you can hang with. Still got 9 people out there, yay. So Pam is saying you wouldn't ask someone to follow your page opposed to like it. So Pam, you can ask people to follow your page. Yes, you can in a post or any other way. You cannot advertise anything that will get them to follow you. You could, and let's say you look at this example in front of you, the sample like ads. This is what the end result would be if you built an ad whose goal was to get people to like your page. This is what the end result would look like. For your case, Pam, you could have that text say, why don't you come like our page, and while you're there, choose to become a follower? You could do that. You might confuse people because it's 2 different actions. All followers are likers, but not all likers are followers. You have to be a liker first to become a follower. So what I'm saying is, Pam, I want to reiterate, you cannot have an ad who's down here in the bottom, instead of just thumbs up, says thumbs up follow. There isn't a specific thing that gets people to follow. You have to ask them or build it into the text or put it into a post. I would put it into a post, not into an ad. Can you recommend some resources that would be able to teach us about content creation to get more engagement? So hopefully what I've just showed you here, content engagement versus ad engagement, 2 different things. But content creation is what I teach in all of my other workshops. I do one called Advanced Facebook Techniques that's coming up. I do one that's called Creating Beautiful Graphics for Your Social Media Sites. That one's coming up. I'll show you something about that in a minute. But it's Jenny, you're asking a huge question. Teach us about content creation to get more engagement. I have been known to do 6 hours on that topic. I'll show you in a minute. If human faces are the ideal graphic, would you recommend using your own image with your product? Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. It's something to think about. Are you the brand part of your branding? Do you want people to come to understand that you are the face of your business? I often will use my face to show, as you might be able to see, that I'm not 22 teaching this stuff. I'm 60 years old teaching this stuff. So it's kind of a decision on your part, but know that our faces are friendly and our products are not. We do business with people, not with products. Showing your product with your face is probably an ideal way to think about it. So here's your product, here's your face, something like that. Get someone else to be showing your product if it's not you. Jill. Oh yeah, Jill, you're the granola person. Hello, seeing you in person. I interviewed you. I don't know if you remember that. So Jill, choose between me holding a bag of my granola. That's an excellent way to think about it, Jill, or somebody holding the bag, or somebody show them using the product. But know that you know your reaction when you see pictures of cute babies or cute animals' faces on the internet. That's what we respond to. We don't much respond to something more abstract or a logo or something like that. They're less interesting to us. I'm not sure I understand this question. You also do this for people instead of them doing it themselves. Do what for people? I'm not sure who that is. How do you choose between boosting a post versus creating a Facebook ad? So that was one thing I was saying in the beginning. Boosting posts is something that is often recommended to you. I think I've got a slide coming up on that by Facebook. They'll say, this is performing really well. That means you posted something that was interesting and engaging and your target audience liked it. Maybe you want to do more of that to get to people who are not your likers. That's why Facebook suggests it. But how to decide between boosting a post and creating an ad? Just the main point here is that there are 11 other different types of ads that you can be creating other than a boosted post. So they're just different points of view, different objectives to each type of ads. And when you get through to that create ad button that I showed you at the beginning, click on that. It'll walk you through the steps and it'll show you the many ways to build an ad. So that's a kind of a roundabout way to answer your question, how to decide. But how to decide absolutely depends on your goals and objectives. And then boosting a post, you can create a post that meets those goals and objectives, but know that there's like 10 other different ways to run an ad. Video, a carousel of photos going around, one single image or short videos or any combination thereof. Pam is bringing up the term of hashtags again. Do not use hashtags in ads. It's just not worth it. Is that just not in ads or in posts as well? I don't use hashtags on Facebook at all, and I don't think anybody should because nobody cares. Hashtags serve a purpose in Instagram and Twitter, but not so much in Facebook. Assume in posts you want to use the @ sign for better engagement. Yes, that in a post, using an @ sign in front of somebody's name or business name will cause that phrase to be clickable and lead people to that page if they want to, or just notify that page that you've mentioned that, but it plays no role in Facebook ads. I create ads for people. Somebody's asking, do you do this for people instead of doing it themselves? Oh, do I create ads for people? As part of my, sorry, I think I understand now. As part of my consulting work, I do run Facebook advertising campaigns for clients who have hired me to do that. I do that. And then I become the one monitoring its performance and when to change it up. For most small businesses, you can't afford that. It's better to do it yourself. That's why I like to teach people how to do it. Okay, so here's just circling back now to boosted posts. Here's one of my clients used to be the local hospital in Peterborough, and they had a fitness center, and I ran their Facebook page. Running their Facebook page, I would always put up cute photographs, and here one day, their members of the fitness center left beautiful flowers at the registration desk, and I just turned that into a Facebook post. And Facebook came back and said to me, see on the lower left, it said, this post is performing way better than anything else you've done lately, 75% better, meaning Facebook knows how many people liked it and commented and shared it. Don't you want to promote it? That, in this instance, what they mean there is boost the post. You already wrote the post, it's already live, but boost it to get to a broader audience. I could have done that because this was so popular. Maybe I should have done that, except it didn't meet any of my marketing objectives or the marketing objectives of this hospital to tell the world, hey, our members brought us flowers, didn't meet any goal. The things that they paid to advertise were usually come join our gym, come join our fitness center, because that's where they got membership fees to pay for the ads, if that makes any sense. So don't boost a post just because Facebook does this, just because they've told you to do this. That's not good policy. Know that all the Facebook ads are reported, the data behind the ads are reported in real time. For example, you could see down here, this post that I did it was a fun thing at Christmas time. It was a video that I took downtown. It's saying, you reached a lot of people, you had a lot of engagement, this is a good thing, you want to boost it to reach more people. It showed me that while I was already advertising it, it's giving me the data behind that page. So that's a good thing for you all to watch the data behind your boosted posts, boosted events, or promoted advertisements. So here's another, promoted event. Here's another one that I did, and it showed me while the event was still running, people could, I could choose to advertise it even more. And as it was advertising up above, I was seeing this number of, showing me data of what was happening. You have one person that clicked through an intent to buy a ticket. You are reaching women between the ages of 55 and 64. They were 31% of the people I reached with that boosted event. So, and this number was continuously changing as that boosted event ran for however many days I told it to run. Okay. So know that Facebook has, I said this before, has extremely detailed data about each and every ad you've ever run. This is a snapshot of what's called the Ads Manager on my account. It goes all the way back to the very first ad I ever ran 10 years ago. I mean that literally. I can find out how much I spent on it, how many people did I reach with it, how many clicked on it, what dates did I run it. I can call it up and modify and redo those same ad campaigns into infinity. It's great data. Any more questions about Facebook ads? Running Facebook ads. We've got 10 minutes to go here for those of you who saw me say we would do this till 1:30. Let me answer your questions about Facebook ads. How many of you have been inspired by this to do something beyond a boosted post and a boosted event? Type me in the chat box if you have. Absolutely been inspired? Steve Marshall, who is otherwise known as Erica? Yes. Me, good. And Pam raised a question, which is outside of Facebook advertising. On my website, when you visit my website, you can, if you're there for longer than 9 seconds, a thing pops up that says, like me on Facebook, like my page. That's an element that was generated from my website building platform, not from Facebook itself. It's called a widget, and I was just able to build it into my website. And for all of you that have websites and Facebook business pages, that's a good thing to have on your website, an invitation to come like the page. It's fairly easy for any website building service to do that for you. Okay, keep up with those questions. Thinking of questions, let me just remind you of a few things. This workshop has demystified ads for me. I'm so glad to hear that, Maria. Some best practices are, if you're running a Facebook ad campaign, if you're paying money to run a campaign, make sure that you don't abandon your page right after that. Make sure you're filling that page every day with something interesting, because if you've brought more people to the page, you want to give them something to look at. Don't let it sit there. It will look bad for you if you've abandoned the page right after running an ad. And this is just a review. The benefits of doing paid ads, they're highly targeted. You'll know immediately if they're working, unlike any print ads you can do. They are inexpensive compared to any print ad you can do. You can create them easily and change them easily. And if they're giving no traction at all, turn them off and start over and try again in that spirit of experimentation I talked about before. Amy says she's inspired to create an ad. Yay! You've boosted posts in the past and looking forward to different ways. Trust me that they work. And Facebook does not pay me to say that. I get no consideration from them for doing that. I just know for my own business and for my church, like I mentioned before, that they work. So in terms of other webinars you could take from me next Wednesday at this very same time, but only for 1 hour, I promise you, just 1 hour. We're doing a live webinar on advanced Facebook techniques your business needs. And what I mean by that is there are probably some features within Facebook, even if you've been at it a while, there are probably things you don't know that are there that you should be using that can help your business page get more engagement and, with luck, help you sell things. That's the whole point, right? The week after that, I'm doing one called Video Marketing and Broadcasting with my partner in Video Crime, whose name is Nanette, and she's awesome. And we just talk about how you should be using using video to market your business. It's a little bit on using Facebook Live, meaning you can use your Facebook page to broadcast live video. You own your own television station, and that's what we talk about in the February 27th webinar. And on March 14th, in a related note, we are doing a longer webinar, therefore it costs more, called Market Your Book Using Facebook and Video Painlessly. So if you know anybody who has independently published their own book or have a book out there that their publisher is not supporting with advertising, come learn how to use Facebook and video together to get the word out on that book that you've done. On March 20th, I referred to this one earlier, I'm doing Learn to Make Beautiful Graphics for Social Media. So that's a 1 hour webinar, and that's to show you all the tools and tricks that I use to make it look like I know what I'm doing with graphic design, even though I'm not a graphic designer. I will lead you through document I have called 100 Best Apps and Sites for Making You Look Like You Know What You're Doing in terms of graphics. So I hope you can join me for one of those webinars coming up. And if you're on my email list, you'll get notified of all of those as the weeks go on. These are all recorded, so if we can't be there live, we can still have the webinar. Yes, if you sign up to be as a participant, you will get the recording afterwards, even if you don't show up in person. Jill says, I attended your graphics webinar. It was helpful. Oh, thank you, Jill. I'm so glad. And Pam, do you offer a package price for a series of webinars? Not at this moment. They're kind of randomly scheduled, and so offering a package has not worked for me. So that's something that I'll do in the future. Thank you, Amy. Know that each of you will get a recording of this very shortly, probably tomorrow morning. As I said, it takes a while for me to format and populate it over in YouTube, and you'll get a link sent to you via the same email that sent you all the notifications of this webinar today. And if you haven't done so already, please go to my page called Halverson New Media on Facebook and like it, and you will get lots more tips and tricks that for free that lead up to some of these more advanced webinars. But I put tips and tricks there all the time, so I hope you've liked the page. All right, last chance for sending me a question via the chat box. Otherwise, I really appreciate your sticking with me for this whole time, all 9 of you. I appreciate that you found me, and I hope that you found this helpful. Thank you. This has been great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we're going to hang up here, and you'll get emails from me. And again, you could ask me 1 or 2 questions via email as well if you need to. Thanks, everyone. Signing off. Bye now.